Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Convo Lounge with your hosts, Char Rochelle, Amir Anthony, Antonio Crow, and we are joined by a very special guest, Lora King.
Lora.
Yes.
Hi guys,
Yes.
thanks for having me.
What's up, Lora?
Thank you for being here. We've been trying to book you for the last 2 years, so thank you.
Sorry. My apologies.
We're not showing our excitement.
good.
We're trying to be professional, but we are so excited to have you. Don't apologize. You're out there doing great work. You're trailblazing, girl. So thank you for making time for us.
Yeah,
You're doing.
Most definitely. We thank you for joining us, Laura. We really appreciate it. So we're gonna open up with the question of the day. What does your last name mean to you?
That is an amazing question. I just got asked that at downtown Houston University, just literally 2 days ago. No one's ever asked me that besides you two. I think my last name means strength. It means being unstoppable. Unstoppable for me means in spite of whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, you still have to keep going forward. It definitely, I would definitely say strength more than anything. Because there's times where it's hard to keep going, but yet I think about my last name. I'm like, what are the chances of that? And so who am I to sit down? Our ancestors went through way too much for us to have this, what we have, this conversation that we're having, even this in English, it was against the law to speak English. So who am I to not show up?
Right.
I like that.
That's
I like that. Antonio Crow.
Man. So I think my last name means fly. So I'm not held down by any restraints. I could just move and keep moving. And if I fall, I'm gonna get up and keep flying.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Super dope.
For me, I'm gonna go ahead and say it means a few things. My first name has a lot of meaning, but I feel with my last name, it has a legacy to continue the work and being a great man that my father is, having a huge influence on my life and being a young Black man and having a father that's been really influential and being a great leader, a supporter, an elder in the church, just an outstanding man. So I just want to give a shout out to my dad. And just my last name, it means strength, it means prosperity, it means to never stop doing what you're doing and continue to be an influential man and just be a person of great character. That's what I see. And it's a blessing where I can just count on him and talk to him at any given time because there's so much wisdom that comes with that. So I strive every day to be just as much of an influential a man as much as he has been on myself, my brother and sister, and also other individuals that look up to him. So shout out to my dad.
Mr. Wood.
Yeah.
Mr. Wood. Yes. My last name is Flournoy, but as my dad would pronounce it, Flournoy, and it's a French word that means night flower or flower of the night. Very unique name. It's not a common last name whatsoever. However, being raised by my father, who was the eldest of 10 children, there was a lot of pride in our last name. So growing up, there was always this, instruction, and then that was always followed by, and you're a Flournoy. I'm not sure what that means because we were not rich. He had nothing to pass on that was tangible. However, with that being said, it's my duty and privilege to make the Flournoy name great until I get married.
That's right.
And you're gonna drop it? You're gonna drop it, or
like a bad habit? Forever Flournoy, but I will take my husband's last name.
That's right. That's right.
And you know what, guys? I forgot to add. I thought we were like, I forgot. Of course, if I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my late great father. I looked at life, the way he handled things, and I'm so honored. I'm so honored that was my father. I'm so honored to know him. And I'm so honored that, I have the same last name as him.
Yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up.
Without a doubt from him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is why it's great for us to have you on the episode today, because a lot of people know your father, and we'll talk about this just based on what they saw, on the news clips in the early 90s with the LA riots. But you're going to give us a more humanized view of the man that your father was. So thank you.
No, thank you for acknowledging that, because I always try to acknowledge that. We're very aware that my father wasn't perfect. However, he was a Black man in America,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
something, he's a historical figure. So that's my goal. I want to be empty of myself before I leave
I
this
love
earth,
that.
to explain to the world that he was human. I
I
want to
love
humanize
that.
him as much as possible, especially being a Black man. Even if that didn't happen to him, just to humanize a Black man in America, that's a big
Mm,
deal.
Yeah.
hmm.
Thank you. Yes. So
Most
take us
definitely.
back, Laura. So your
Sure.
father, for the listeners, is the late great Rodney King.
Yes.
You're his child. Are you his only child? Are you his eldest? Where do you fall?
No,
And
I'm actually his middle child. I'm the
okay,
middle child.
Okay.
Yeah. I have an older sister. She's 39, and I have a younger sister. She's 27, and I'm 37.
okay.
I'll actually be 38 Friday.
Happy
Oh wow.
birthday.
Okay.
Happy
All right.
birthday. Yeah, yeah.
Aquarius in the house.
Yeah,
Man,
so you're the Aquarius.
I am. I
That's what's
am.
up.
Yeah.
That's what's
Nice.
up.
So
So
what was it like? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amir.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Char. Go
No,
ahead.
take it away. Take it away.
Yeah. So I mean, I think, first of all, this is an honor to have you here because
Oh,
Char opened it up like
with you
we've been,
guys. Are you
yeah, like this is something that's been in the making for a few years, and how timely can it be for Black History Month? And
right?
I just want to know, with your father's legacy. I mean, for me, I'm 39 years old, so I remember everything clear as day. And we're approaching the 30-year mark rather of when the LA riots took place. And you
Right.
know, my boy Antonio is from Compton. My grandfather's church is in Compton. The church I was raised in on Long Beach and Rosecrans. So I remember our church almost being burnt down that day, right? So,
Yeah.
just going back and reflecting, and I had to do some research on my own, do some digging. With your father's legacy still intact, what are you currently doing during Black History Month, and to continue to bring more light to your father's legacy in light of everything that's happening still in this country to Black men and Black women, Black people as a whole?
That's a great question. I wake up every day and smile. I
I
smile because
love
I'm
that.
Black. I smile because I'm unique. And I smile because, in spite of everything we've been through, we're still able to communicate like we are.
Mm,
Um, so who am I to slow down? Who am I to dwell in my feelings? Yes, I have days where I don't want to keep going, but Harriet Tubman did the same thing. So
right.
who am I to not show up? I just literally came back from DC. Raymond, be quiet. I just came back from DC Wednesday. I spoke at amazing. It was their first African American program. It was from 10 to 3 at the University of Downtown Houston. I was their guest speaker, and that was a heck of an experience for me. And then I'm doing this with you guys, and then I will be in DC the 27th, meeting Time Magazine and Bridget Floyd, George Floyd, one of his sisters. Actually, a couple of his sisters are doing foundation. So
Hmm.
I'm excited because I've never been to DC, and it reminds me again of our ancestors and the things we went through to have this very moment. So
Hmm.
that I'm like a million things, guys. What else? I do a monthly food distribution or whatever I'm able to give, shoes, clothes, whatever. And pretty much every city that tugs my heart. Compton, I've done, Long Beach, Watts, you name it. I've pretty much gave out shoes, clothes, something to give back, because I know what it's
Yes.
like to need. I know what it's like to need. I still
Right.
know what it's like to need.
Listen.
Right. Something that sticks out with me regarding your cause and your foundation and the history of your family. Police and community have always had issues through the years, historically, right?
Mhm.
And the fact that your father had an incident that was highlighted in our world, and it didn't stop there. Like, unfortunately,
Right.
it happened, but it didn't stop there. It continued to happen, and it may continue beyond today.
Right.
So your foundation really just is on point, and I'm really glad that it's you who stood up,
Mhm. Thank
as the lineage of this historic unfortunate mishap. And it like, honestly, I don't like to see when people whip out their phones and start taking video for anything like fights or anything. But police violence,
Yeah.
It has to stop. So we have to bridge a coalition or something between the community and the police to stop this police violence.
Right. I totally agree. Totally. Times 20. And unfortunately, the only thing that has changed is a hashtag in clear cell phones, clear videotapes. Other than that, it's the same thing. We're still in the same position. Right when I'm hopeful, right? Right when I'm hopeful, then there's another Rodney King. There's another George Floyd. My father wasn't the first person. Just coincidentally, by the grace of God, somebody turned in that video. But this is not the first case. It was a repetitive thing, and I'm not agreeing with him running, but he ran for that reason because he knew what was to come, because this was normal behavior. They would take guys up in Altadena and they would be missing and never be shown again. It's like these people we see on the street walking and they look like they lost their mind. How many of them are Rodney Kings? How many of them are George Floyds? But we're looking at them like they didn't lost their damn mind. No, no, probably not. You never know. You don't know.
Yeah, we never know how trauma might impact or affect us.
Right, seriously.
Yeah. So what was it that made you answer the call to start your father's foundation?
You know, I worked in Glendale for 10 years. And I would go to Skid Row twice a month, just out of my budget, and I would make sack lunches or whatever I can put in there. And my dad was still living at the time, and he'd get pissed off at me, like, why are you spending your own money? Start a foundation. And I was like, I don't want to do that. It's too much. And after he died, I said, how do I honor this man? Well, he naturally would give. He would come to my school, play at recess time, buy 15 balls and play catch with the kids. Of course, they would let him because of who he was. He would buy uniforms for schools in LA so who am I not to show up? He did it. But of course, the media didn't portray that. Of course, they didn't put that out there. Nobody knows that. But, who am I not to use my pain to push me forward? Because it's very selfish of me to sit and be sad. That's very selfish. Or I could use this pain to push the world to make us greater.
Yes. So tell us about your father. Tell us about Rodney King, the man, the father, the human version that television did not show us.
That guy was super dope. And he was actually pretty classy. He was a very classy man. Very, very well-mannered. He was very well-mannered. He cared about his skin, his teeth, his look, his, the way that he smelled, the way that he presented himself. Of course, none of that was presented. He loved unconditionally. He would genuinely give you the shirt off his back. He was actually too giving. That was a major problem. But he did suffer from addiction. He did suffer from alcoholism. But I'll tell you this, I think that something like that happened to me, I would never be the same. I wouldn't have even been normal to his effect. I don't think it would have been ever. So it's like, I don't think that they gave him the proper mental health after that. I don't think. I think the way that they handled him here in America was not fair. In spite of that, he was a professional swimmer. A lot of people didn't know that. Wow. He played semi-pro league. He was a hell of a baseball player. Raymond, we don't need to know you're a baseball player. Stop.
Yeah.
Go Raymond. Raymond said he's up and coming.
Yeah. Shout out to Raymond.
Yes.
He was a baseball player. Okay, no. I need those candles. Okay, I need those candles. Thank you. He was a baseball player. He loved sports. He was super spontaneous. He loved black art, loved black art. He loved being supportive of anything, any way he could help, he would help. And he was too humble sometimes, and he would forget his, who he was. So oftentimes he was so humble. It was like, okay, no. So, and we never had intimate moments with my dad, like when we go out to eat, and he loved eating. We never had intimate moments to where it was like people would constantly come up to us, and he was so humble, he was okay with it. We would get irritated because it's like, this is our moment, we didn't have those moments. So he would just smile, answer the question, keep on with his day. And we was irritated, like, okay. But it's like, who am I not to be humble? Because I can go out and have it like today. I could be having a bad day. I can go out in public, no one will know me, right? And I think about celebrities are people that are forced in the limelight. And I'm like, hold on, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all.
That's
Hold on.
Oh,
okay.
you good.
Come on, Bruce Leroy Johnson Jr. Come on. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but I think about celebrities, right? And I think about when they're having a bad day, they have to still face the world as who they are. We're having a bad day. Nobody knows us. We'll be
Right.
okay. But yet people are saying the most cruel things to you. So that adds
Yeah.
on to what you're already mentally, where your mental state is already. I don't know.
Yes.
But I think he handled it the best way he was able to, given the little help that he was given.
Right.
Who was Rodney King before the riots and before that
My
day?
dad, he was super fun, super loving. He didn't. A lot of people are not aware too. He had permanent brain damage, and you know, when you have permanent brain damage, you could be in mid sentence and like totally forget what you're saying. You could be, and he had over 50 plus broken bones, in his body. So he would be like in mid conversation, and you could tell he was like in pain, but he would not want you to know that he was in pain. So he would like, and for me, that was really hard.
This was after, right? This is after what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas before he was super spontaneous, super athletic, ready, set, go mode, always in ready, set, go mode. Literally.
He started a record company too, right?
He did.
Yeah.
It was called Straight Out the Past. So Altadena and Pasadena, because a lot of people, you guys are all from pretty much California. So you know what I mean, with the Bloods and Crips. So he wanted to unite the people. Yeah. And to me, I mean, it didn't do well as it should have, but to me, true success is what domino effect do you have on the world? And I think that for him doing that, you know, I felt that was so dope. So dope.
Yeah.
So Laura, I had a chance to take a look at your website and your foundation to keep your father's legacy going. And I noticed that your hashtag, you know, it's amazing how that's, you know, a new thing, but you use your father's, you know, his famous line was, can we all get along?
Just get along.
And I remember that on watching in my grandmother's house, and you know, it was like 24, like that moment revolutionized that, and maybe the OJ Simpson thing. That's a whole nother story. But it revolutionized the way we look at television, how things in the media are portrayed. Just so happens that one was a Black man that we can all identify with. We all have cousins, aunts, and uncles. And then one was a famous athlete. But when you think about the legacy of your father and the word that get along, when he said that, what does that mean, and how are you continuing to use that today?
You know, in my Nipsey Hussle voice, I think it's pretty profound. I think it's pretty profound. And again, I wouldn't say that. I'm not just saying that because that's my father. For me, I would have a little hatred in my heart. And I'm pretty humble. I would have a little bit of hatred. I wouldn't give a darn. But they gave him something to write. He didn't say that. He spoke from his heart. Because there were old people, stop Raymond. There were old people getting hurt. There were behind the scenes that nobody knew about. And his main concern was not himself. His main concern was the community. And I think, and it's so sad because Black people give him a hard time for that. And he handled it like a G. He did. But you know, it's like, I feel like when we speak from our heart, there's no right or wrong answer. And the people that need to receive it, they receive it. The people that don't, well, you know, and that's something that's stuck with the world. And it's a sad question because we're still asking the same question.
Seriously. And it's such a simple question. It's so profound because even still to this day, the reason why it sticks is because it's so relative. How come we can't all just get along?
And it's simple math. Like, I don't understand it. I like to think, what if we all had the Stevie Wonder effect, right? What if we were all blessed enough to be in Stevie Wonder's position and love each other from our hearts? Then we would look at each other to label each other. We would, you know, literally, like Martin Luther King say, judge each other based off your heart. God made us different for a reason. God made us Black. That means we're special. I'm not pro Blacking and all that, but we're special. That's not our fault. We didn't have anything to do with it. So let's highlight our differences so that we could get along, so that we can figure this out, because we're all here. We're all adults. We're not leaving.
Right. We also didn't ask as the people to come here. Like I don't know like how that gets lost in translation, you know, against our counterparts, but like our ancestors didn't raise their hands and be like, hey, actually, yeah, take us over there. We're good to be in bondage for 400 plus years. And you know, while you're at it,
no, we're not.
treat the generations behind us like trash. Why don't you?
Man,
you know what? We'll build your country for free and don't give us anything in return. We got y'all.
And then give us 28 days to remember.
Right. The shortest of all. Really?
Sorry.
That's why we're making it a year.
Right.
It is now a year. It is now a lifetime.
Beyond 28.
Show your shirt, Lora.
Oh, Dad. That's my dad.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Representing.
But you know, I love myself with grace. Pain, but we use grace, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to say, based off that statement, can we all just get along? I think awareness had been created by that statement with the older generation. And why I say that is because I recall being on Vermont, being pulled over by the LAPD, and my car being searched, and two older ladies walked down the street to me and my nephew and said, "Baby, we watching them." Right? Like that incident, and that was the driving while black. Like your dad's incident happened during the driving while black era, which was taking place across the world, driving while black.
Yep.
So yeah, that can we all just get along? Kind of encourage the elders to even get involved with the youth that are being harassed. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
And I every once in a while I try to remember and add, can we be equal? Because it's like I obviously not. Like we should be laughing about this conversation. Like, look how ignorant we were once upon a time. But no, yet and still we're still having the same. I mean, like, it's not that hard. It's really not.
It's not. It's not. Like if and I'm not anti-police, but I am pro integrity. And if your motto is to protect and serve, do that. Do that.
Very simple.
Do that.
You got sworn in. You're looked up to. Like you have and I'm with you. I'm not pro police or anything like that. I have like 3 solid friends that makes me believe in policing. They're great people. They're genuine people and they want to save the world. But that's like the size of a mustard seed. My faith is the size of a mustard seed, but it's still there.
Yes.
I'm very hopeful. And it's like with any profession, there's good and bad, but you guys are the police. So you're held at a different standard. And it's not fair. I think they should do more mental evaluations because they're put in positions, they're put in neighborhoods that they didn't grow up in. They need to have cultural awareness programs for them. Hey, this doesn't mean that. This means I'm fearful of my life. So of course I'm fidgety. Of course you're gonna think I'm acting like a criminal. I feel like I'm gonna die. So this is how I act in flight or flight situations. That doesn't mean that I have something or, I don't know. I think if we all did different incidents and looked at it from other people's point of view, we would be a little bit more empathetic.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, and it all goes down to why certain schools across this country are turning their nose against critical race theory, right?
Yep.
And it's important because what your father brought to the world, not just California, LA area, the world, he put the world on notice on the ugly truth of what was happening in this country 30 years ago. And then we fast forward, we're all in our, we still remember to this day, right? So it's like, when you think about the reason why they're turning up against their nose on everything that's happening, it doesn't help. It hinders the work that people are doing, like yourself and others. And I'm glad that you've never stopped and you've continued. And I'm going to give you another Nipsey Hussle. The marathon continues because you keep doing what you're doing, because I applaud you. And then also being a Black woman in this space, right? Because I feel like the Black woman has the voice that can speak volumes and go to higher levels than a Black male can. You guys can go in those spaces and knock down those doors and get things going. You think of Harriet Tubman, and you think of you think of Michelle Obama, you think of Coretta Scott King. So I'm glad that you're continuing your father's legacy, because they turn their nose at when we want to be great. Yeah. So it's like, what do you want? what do you
Right.
want from me? Like, do you want me to
Right.
be in a space where I'm just like down and battered and not educated? Or do you want me to be in a space where I can have a podcast, where I can continue the legacy of
That's
a
right.
loved one who
That's
started
right.
something? So I'm just, it's just amazing to me that these things continue to happen and they just try everything in their power. If it's not this, then it's the voting rights issue.
Yep. Very true. So
Yeah.
true.
I think
So-
societies have to recognize that we are great. It's not about trying. We
don't have
that's
a
our
choice.
birthright. Greatness is our birthright.
What did he say? It's in our DNA. Hey,
Yeah.
all you
Period.
said,
Yeah.
you just show up. God does the work.
Right.
Yes.
You gotta
Yes.
show up. You gotta do a little work, but he does the work. Everything connects. Everything connects. But it is hard to show up when you're hated.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But when you look over and you really genuinely think about where our ancestors really went for us to have this, then it's easy.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
you think about
Yes.
that, it's a little difficult. But if you
Yeah.
think about where you came from, where you really, and realistically, that wasn't that long ago. I'm 37. My mom's 57. That was not that long ago. So if we don't show up and do what we're supposed to, we're going to be back in the same position. If we
I
don't
agree.
show up and do what we're supposed to, we're going to be in the same position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people our age often forget that the civil rights era is our parents' generation. So we are not far removed. So
Right.
the only thing we can do is take the baton and keep going
That's right.
and
Like you guys are doing.
create
This
that
is
path.
amazing.
Thank
You
you.
should be
Thank
so proud of
you.
yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no.
We are. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. But like keep that same energy and that same, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to use right now, but it's in my mind. Keep that
Momentum.
same momentum for the generations that come
Right,
behind
right.
us. Thank
Yeah.
you,
I know
Lord.
what you mean.
Yeah.
And it's tough
Because
sometimes, it's
yeah.
tough. It's like, because the media, that's why we have the I Am King scholarship on behalf of the Rodney King Foundation. And that's to highlight African American men. And it's not like, oh, I'm trying to pump them up. I am though, because
No,
technically,
yeah,
you
they're
guys
the kings. Yes,
you guys are
yes,
like,
we are
I would
trying to
say,
pump them up.
Yeah.
you guys are
No
like
ifs, ands, and buts.
endangered human beings. And
Word.
they portray you as angry, upset, horrible fathers. I'm like, no. I know plenty of amazing dads. I have friends, family, cousins that are single dads. They don't have no help, no woman's around. And it's like, for me to go outside of this door to be the most hated person and you just forced to keep a smile,
Mhm.
who are we not to highlight them? And the media does the opposite. So we definitely wanted to help in that department. We wanted to help so that they don't have to spend out of their own money to, take from bill money. And I know for me, from a parent's point, I would never admit to my daughter, I can't afford to take her out today. So we wanted to lift that burden and, have a child have that undivided attention, because attention from a father, and I'll say this, I'm a mother, See, that's why he needed attention from his dad. I would say this, as a mom, the father is the most important person in a child's life,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true. True.
because he
Well,
sets the bar for her first love. He also sets the bar
yes.
for the boy's example. So, I think that's major. I think it's major living in a world that puts you guys so at the bottom of the barrel. But, I don't know the quote because I'm having brain fart, but it basically says controls a man thinking and you control him. Right. So
Mhm.
if you're naturally putting this on the news, eventually little boy watching this he's not gonna feel like he's amazing.
Mm.
So who are we not to pump up a black man? Who are we not? Like, we know
Yeah.
what you guys are capable of. You do it.
Yeah. Yes.
That there's so much to unpack with that last part right there. But one thing is so I feel like with Shar, myself, all of us here, we come from the era of the music, right? And you see the
Right.
shift in culture and music.
Mhm.
And you see
Yep.
how the shift in culture and music has also showcased Black men. And
Yep.
there's no more empowerment in the music anymore. There's no more empowerment we don't even have our own. So like growing up, I remember like LA being, that area was our area.
Mhm.
And when I thought about what happened, we're coming up upon this April, I believe, will be
Yeah.
30 years from the riots, right?
Mhm.
And the thing that I always think about all the time when I'm back home in LA, I always think about what it used to look like from the time that our parents grew up out there
Yeah,
up
that's
until
so
we remember when it was a predominantly Black neighborhood growing up, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, with USC being right there and all the other places that we can talk about.
Mhm.
Are you currently doing anything to bring Black businesses in the communities that were unfortunately no longer here due to the riots? Are you in the works of doing anything within the LA community to bring certain things back? Because I know your father was also influential in trying to do things like that post riots.
You know what? I would love to do that. Um, I'm doing like so many things, and this year I was like, okay, you're gonna focus and narrow down on some things because I want to do
Yeah.
so much. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and the thing is, I don't get burnt out. That's another bad thing. And
Oh,
my
that's a
dad,
blessing.
That
wake up,
is.
go, 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 go. And
Yeah.
I don't get tired. But when I do get tired, I'm like, you need to rest. You need to rest. But as
Mm.
soon as I rest, I'm back up again. But that is something that bothered me. It's funny you say that because some areas are still look the same as the 90s. Like it hasn't
Yes.
had any help. So I would love to get involved. I would love to any way that I can. Any way that I'm able to help, I would like love to do that.
Most
That's a
definitely.
great question. That's a great question, actually.
Well, you know, because I really want to see it because, you know, you're seeing gentrification take over in these neighborhoods, right? And I
Yep.
know that the mass exodus post riots up until the early 2000s, obviously ended up going to like other parts of Southern California. The Inland
Mhm.
Empire was one of them, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about that, I mean, and then now you're seeing things that are being into these communities now, you know, there's new stadiums being built, there's
Mhm.
housing being built, and they're doing everything possible. You're seeing it in Oakland. I read an article today that the
Mhm.
original location of where the Black Panthers were, they're looking to tear that down and put, you know, a housing location, you know, a huge apartment location with the retail at the bottom, you know, make it like this whole downtown area. It's like you're really tearing down a history of community organizing, right? Which is what
Mhm.
all we wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's all we ever wanted to do from
Right.
the
That-
60s all the way on down. All we wanted was community organizing, but they did
Right.
things and infiltrated, started
Right.
planting little bad seeds
Yep. Yep.
and said, here, this is what you
They do.
guys are, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, I would like to say that to your question, Amir, the Crenshaw district has always been known as African American owned.
Mhm.
yeah,
Lamert Park area is still thriving. And unfortunately, during the riots, we were able to see people start taking pride in their business, so other Black people wouldn't tear their businesses down.
Nice.
You saw the sign Black owned business, right?
Yeah.
So
I
I
remember
think
that.
since the riots, and I think since the riots, the Lamert Park Crenshaw district totally has embodied the presence of Black business
Mhm.
in the county of Los Angeles. If nowhere else, for sure the Crenshaw district. And so salute to the Crenshaw district.
Yes,
Very true.
please
I
keep
agree.
it. Don't let go. And
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
and yes, and the mall is. I heard the mall is in the process of.
Yeah. So Lamert Park is basically it, like the Lamert
That's it.
area. Yeah, basically to Slauson all the way
Wow.
to Lamert,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's that's sad. That
It is.
breaks my heart. That's one of the things I noticed as well growing up in Long Beach. It doesn't feel like home anymore because every time I visit, the staples that I grew up around are no longer there, you know, due to gentrification. So I'm just like, wow, y'all
Yeah.
really just tore my whole little city up
As Rick Ross says,
and
it's
named
deeper
it
than rap,
improvement.
right?
It is.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. And it's hard because this generation, and no shame on them, but they're just different than we are. They're
Mhm.
stronger, but then we're all different in different ways. So I hope that they can continue to fight for our grandkids and our great great grandkids so that they can, you know, have the feel for it. It's not like I don't want them to just see things in history books or I want
Yeah.
them to actually experience it, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful though, y'all. I'm hopeful.
No,
Well, I tell you this is Black history, right?
yeah.
Oh,
Word.
definitely.
Every
You know,
day.
this is we're the walking embodiment of it.
Yeah.
And I think it also is important for us. One thing about us, we're, you know, working in the space I work in higher education, and I'm on a committee for Black graduates, and we were trying to find a theme for this upcoming graduation, because this will be the first one that's in person in like the last 2 years due to the pandemic. So there was a lot of things that were tossed around. And one of the things that one of my sisters said was, we are resilient as Black people, right? And you think about everything that we've been through. Do we really complain? Or what are we really doing? We don't complain. We're just trying to make change. That's all we want, is to make change.
Yeah,
and we're continuously doing it.
That is it. You said the
All the
magic
time.
word. Wow, yeah.
And
That's
I'm just like, at what point do we, like, are we past reparations? Are we past that part? I get a chance to see Dr. Cornell West in a couple of weeks, because he's going to talk about this very thing. But I just wanted to know, this is a question for everyone. What do you think we need to move forward to get things back to where, because you talk about the generation gap, right? I feel like Generation Z, there's like, it's different. It's like, but what do you think we need to do to like push the ball forward? Like, what are we not doing? Or what are we not being heard? I'm just trying to really like understand. Because I'm at this point where I'm like, you see the way things, like, image is everything. You see things on television, and they're slowly showing signs of washing us away.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about. You see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna let y'all read between the lines what I'm talking about, what they doing. So this is for everyone here. What's like, I'm just curious.
I'm gonna let the ladies go first. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Antonio. I think it starts with unity. I think it starts with unity within our community, within our culture. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, as great as we are as Black people, as African Americans, we are also the most divisive culture in the world. In the world. Black on Black crime, gang violence. The ability to shoot somebody and kill somebody who looks like you is asinine to me. Granted, I know that a lot of that comes from past generational trauma, and it's the byproduct of slavery. I understand all of that, but I think if we are going to talk about moving forward and get change that sticks, it's going to start with us uniting and really loving each other and loving on one another and building each other up until we can become strong and solid as a unit. There's always going to be outside forces that are going to be able to break us down.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. Yep. I'm gonna hit you with the Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. No, I'm playing. I'm joking, but I ain't.
Right.
I say that to say, and it's crazy because I feel like I'm rich spirited. I'm far from rich, but I'm rich spirited. But I wouldn't have no money. But you know, in actuality, everybody had a head start except for us. Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back.
Yes.
I said everybody had a head start except for us. We didn't get the memo. John Hope Bryan has a book that says that. We didn't get the memo. We didn't. But yet you disappointed in our actions. Yet we didn't get, we got held back one lap at the finish line.
Yes.
They had one whole lap ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I mean that. And yet again, I'm gonna throw that word in, but we do it so gracefully. Yeah, we're angry. We're angry because we didn't get it. You know, it's like same analogy. I'm letting my kids start first, whole lap before. Yeah, I'm upset. I'm not gonna win this. So yeah, I want to be in a race, fair game, but I'm not gonna win this. So I would love a fair shot. I would love a fair shot. And financially, it's not about the money, but in actuality, it is. It is because we want too.
Yeah,
you know,
resources.
Have money to live, to survive.
Yeah.
We're not trying to be rich, but dang, like it is hard out here.
Yeah.
And I say from such a humble place, it's not fair. It's not, you know, you bring us here and it's like, okay, well, here. Like, huh? And you expect what results from that?
Yeah.
I think we're doing magical work given the hand that we were dealt with our hands behind our back. I think we're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah.
I'll be looking at my people like, would you look at this? In spite of this is still what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
Imagine if we got the right hand dealt.
Yes.
Imagine that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it goes back to that resilient thing. And that's the reason why I wanted to pose a question to everyone here, because, you know, I feel like we all have the opportunity to continue to push things forward. I think we all can do the right thing. And I think it starts with love. I think it starts with love. And I think that, you know, when we are in pockets of areas where there's a lot of snow on top, right?
Yeah.
That's a little metaphor I like to use sometimes. Or I like one thing. Yeah, or I like to do a shout out to my cousin. Shout out to my cousin Corey. He always like to say non-members. And you know, I just feel like it starts with love. And I think that, you know, I think of music. I think the way that things are portrayed in the media and the way things are portrayed in entertainment, we come from the era of the 90s, is when like the classic era of hip hop, right? And we remember when the way things were done. I just feel like the message, we're missing the message, and we need to bring back the message in the music. We need to bring back the way that we are portrayed, not just Black men, but also Black women. I just feel like sometimes I see things on the Shade Room and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, whoa, like pause. Like,
whose child is this?
Yeah, like pause. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm gonna give a shout out to Kevin Samuels, because he posted something. I think he took it down, but it was like the way women go outside sometimes and look. I'm like, my goodness, like, I can't tell that this person on the Shade Room from that person on the Shade Room. They all look like they take him in a factory and they just put things on them, and it's like they're props. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we gotta stop. And it would be really dope if there was more messaging. Like, we grew up in the era was, you know, we went from self-destruction to where we talked about, and we talked about we all in the same gang. We talked about, you know, UNITY, Queen Latifah. And now it's just like, I have to get
good, won't you?
I almost need to put closed caption on TV to listen to today's rap music. I'm just saying.
Tupac said that's the realest you ever wrote. That is real.
Right. And he spoke on this. He spoke on that before he passed away. The great Tupac was talking about all these rappers out here talking all this, get the money, all this stuff. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like, stop. And I think it starts there. Like, I'll give a shout out to a lot of athletes that are in major sports, from the NBA. I'm gonna get on the NFL on my sound off later. But I just feel like those that have the platforms like the LeBron James, the Chris Pauls, Magic Johnson, and continuously doing work in the Black community, hiring more people of color, not just the Black community, also the brown community too. But I think you look at other marginalized groups and other people of color, I feel like with us, it's just like, we gotta like what's going on? Like, we don't, if it ain't in the Black church, then what do we gotta do? Where is it gonna come from? Where's the source? Where is the source?
We need a collective come to Jesus.
I agree.
So I guess my response is family. Outside of the 40 acres, like, we weren't given the 40 acres and the mule, but we are number one consumers of things and stuff. And who are we purchasing these things and stuff from? The families, Johnson and Johnson. We go to the Hilton. So if the Crow family can be the Johnson and Johnson, then we're changing the world from our perspective and our bloodline. You know what I'm saying? So the Woods family, the Flournoy, the King family, people need to shop at our stores, right? Amen. Because those communities are really changing the world. And we don't even know. Like, sometimes people didn't even know that Walmart was a family. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Jeff Bezos is one man. He created Amazon, more or less, right? But Amazon was a bookstore. Now look, you know what I mean? Right. So our mindset and families, I think family is like, we live in the United States. The United States is a corporation. Our families are just as strong as the United States in the unity sense. If we can become unified as a family and start our own family foundations, then we can change our narratives for our families.
Right.
Yeah. And just to go back to your original question, and to piggyback off what Laura was saying, another benefit that that would help. Ooh, my word. Is Mercury retrograde over? Because my words are being jumbled today.
Is.
Okay,
It's
I have
over.
no excuse. It's just me. It's just me then.
Yeah.
All
Good,
right.
girl. You good. Take your time. Take your time.
Thank you. Because society often compares the Black plight to the Jews and the Holocaust. But if we can get the same setup and resources that they had when they came up out of the Holocaust, that would be a start.
Yeah.
Because they're thriving today. They don't have the same setbacks that we have, but yet we're always being compared.
Well, it comes from community. It comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of support. You know, we all have our own. We are a brand. Yeah. And we're a walking brand. When you walk into job spaces and you're interviewing for an opportunity of employment, you're branding yourself through your resume, through your cover letter, the clothes that you put on, the way you shave, everything is a brand. But our brand has been exposed and we don't own it.
Yes. Oh, that's a good one. That's a mic drop.
Johnson and Johnson.
And that's the problem. And the thing is that you look at it, I mean, you know, you think about you mentioned Jeff Bezos, Antonio. You think about it, and it's like, okay, he's one of many. Michael Jordan is one of one. How many Black men that are athletes have their own apparel line that's $1 billion worth? And it's still over, and Nike still owns Jordan, right?
Shaquille O'Neal has a shoe. Yeah.
Well,
who's does he still have a shoe? Or who's still buying his products?
His shoe.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So yes. So I'm actually gonna talk about that because you made a good comparison. Shaq left Reebok because he went. As the story goes, I'm just gonna give a short version. Is he saw someone, a young boy was trying to buy some shoes. His mother said that they were too expensive. Right. And in that moment, he realized that he needs to make a product that the Black community and other communities, not just Black, all communities can be able to purchase. So that was the reason why you see his product in places like Walmart and other retail stores where the market price for it is not as high. And you think about the Jordan. When that shoe came out in the 80s, it was like the shoe of all shoes. It's still the shoe of all shoes today. It's hip hop.
Yeah, you're right.
But think about how it impacted the Black community. We killed each other over them.
Not positively.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Until this day, you go and try to get these shoes at your local retail store across America. People still fighting over kicks where the retail price has doubled. Yeah. And there's a shortage of them. True. So I just feel like, we just need to be more in these spaces because we are our brand, but our brand has been exposed. We need to be in these spaces where we can continue to push the margin. We got to continue to keep growing, and we got to continue to get pushing those areas where if we're not going to do, we're going to create our own lane. And then on top of that, hopefully we bring other individuals with us to keep that thing floating. And then we take it to the level when we invest in it, when there's still unity involved, buying, the Black dollars, recycling those Black dollars. And I think that's where it needs to start. I mean, you think about the way Black History Month has been. Oh man, you see it. And it's just like, you go to Target, you go to, it's everywhere. And I'm like, well, who's winning? Are we really winning during this month? Are we really winning during this month? Or are we actually like taking an L? Are we taking a setback? Like, I just hope that with this platform and that's why I applaud what you're doing, Laura. I just feel like, we got to continue to keep doing what we're doing and not stop. We can't stop.
And
the gospel according to Uncle Luke, don't stop, get it.
I always give a shout out to the freedom fighters because, these are people that are not Black and, some of them are not affected by anything we're going through. And yet still they put their families in line. They put, more people are speaking up now. Yeah. I think that's why we're moving forward more because more people are like, hey, no, they got to explain why their kid is watching George Floyd get murdered on an iPad. You can't escape that. That's obvious. So I have to explain to my child the truth. I can't water it down. So now it's like, wait, I can't really lie to my kid. She's asking me, she's seen it for herself. So so
Mhm.
those are the things that give me hope. The people that are fighting for us that basically are not affected by us. And I wanted to tell
Yeah.
you before I forgot. My dad used to send me to leadership camps and I hated it. But as an adult, I
Mm.
wouldn't trade it for anything. One of the
Wow.
camps
Wow.
was there in
That's what's
Oakland.
up.
Yeah. And it's there in Oakland. It was at I would fly to East Palo and then I have family there. And
Okay.
we would drive to Oakland and we would stay on campus at UC Santa Cruz. So every
Okay.
time I think it's
Yeah.
different, it's called Camp Akili. And when you
Okay.
guys get time, please do the research. They still do it. It's from 9th to
Yes.
12th grade. So
We'll make
basically
sure
they
to
have
put that in the show notes. Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
but it's
Camp
basically
Aquila.
teaching you who you are.
I
And when
love
Mm.
I
that.
say that has
Knowledge
stuck with me
itself.
every day. Yeah, every day I wake up, it helps me on so many levels. From the way that we dress to the way that we dance when we're out in public, to the way we criticize each other based off of the texture of our hair. I mean, you name it. It's a
Yes.
phenomenal camp. And my goal is to bring it down to here to LA. That would be,
Yes.
really would love to make it travel throughout the world. And they have an
Mhm.
extended part to it where they went to Ghana. But my dad was gonna pay for it and
Yes.
everything, but my mom wouldn't let me. She's like, no. And can you tell? I'm still upset about it to this day.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
like,
dope.
And I
yeah,
like that because this is Shar actually has apparel. We need more thinkers. We need
that's
more
dope.
leaders.
That's
Yes.
it.
And I like that. And I hope
Yep.
if there's any way that us as a collective
Yeah.
can support you in this mission, I would love to
Yes.
actually support that. Because when we go back to the question of the day, what is your last name mean to you? And I said my father is the leadership, servant leadership, right? We need more of that because that's what Dr. King was, right?
Yep.
Your father, with all that the media did, there was a certain part of servant leadership that was in him. He just needed someone else to give him the uplifting needed
Yes.
to get it going. But
Yes.
we missed the mark. We poked fun at it.
Yep.
It was like, well, what? And it was just like, no, we actually do need to get along. We actually do need to do better in our communities. And 30 years later, and we look at this, we're in our 30s.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like
some of us.
Yeah.
Hey,
No shade.
Hey, I ain't tripping.
No shade.
But it's still like my God, like what what is happening? Like so leadership, knowledge itself, so key, especially with this new generation, because they get things on the go. And for them, the pandemic has been their 92 riots, their 9/11. Right?
No idea.
They know the pandemic and they know George Floyd. They know Breonna Taylor. They know Ahmaud Arbery. So they see these things. So I think also, and this is where you were touching on, we need individuals that are in the non-member category to actually fight the fight for us. Yep. We need the allies. Allies is where it's at. Because if we have the allies, because that's what it really hit the mark in the 60s was the allyship.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
they need someone. They need someone that looks like them to tell them where they're wrong at.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sugar free static, because I'm gonna tell you where you're wrong at.
Yes. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. I love sugar free. Sorry.
Hey, this is hip hop right here. No matter what, this is hip hop. This is hip hop. And shout out to Pomona's finest, sugar free.
Sugar free.
Yes.
Shout out to Pomona's finest. This is hip hop right here all day. Convo Lounge is hip hop. Okay. We're gonna drop some lyrics. We're gonna drop some lines, no doubt. That's what's up.
You guys are amazing. I'm so honored. It's always funny when people are like, "I'm honored." No, because you're doing it. You're doing it too. You're doing the same thing I do. I'm humbled, and I say God can take all this away from me. And what are you still doing? So you need to keep going. Like, who are you? Look, Harriet Tubman didn't walk all those miles for you to just sit here and watch TV.
Right.
Come on, pick up the baton and keep going. Come on. It's okay you didn't get a fair shot, but we're going to win the race. Because look how great we are. And we didn't even get a fair start. Can you imagine Can you imagine when we take a deep breath and go for it? Can you imagine that? Imagine if you have somebody that looks like you don't know them, but they rooting for you, like they really genuinely love you.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to show up.
Yes.
Or you not.
We are a representative of the past, and we're in the present, but we're continuously fighting and working for the future. And that is the reason why I like to use the term Black to the future. And you think about what we're doing and how we can continue to make it happen. And it starts here. It starts today.
Yep.
What happened yesterday is yesterday, but it starts today.
Yeah.
When you walk out that door, what are you representing?
That's right. That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That is it. And we don't need music in the background. We don't need that.
I love it. So Lora,
yes,
in all that you're doing and all that you've gone through with your father, your own life, I'm sure you've had to process your own trauma just being his daughter. What do you do for self-care and mental health, mental wellness?
Yes.
So I'm a workout fanatic. That's my go-to.
Yes.
I can spend an easy 2.5 hours. Only reason I leave the gym is because I have I have to take my daughter to school. I have to do this. Otherwise, I put my music in and that's my happy place. When I was younger, my dad had a den downstairs. He had like all this stuff. He would spend hours. I'm dripping. I'm like, what is wrong with this man? Well, after I had my daughter 15 years ago, that was like, I've always been athletic. That's my place. I'm like, I don't have to think, but I can think about this set I got to lift. And I'm like, what? That's like my go-to. I love poetry. So I started back reading in audiobooks lately. I've been reading. There's a book I've been reading lately, all the books my dad had. And one of them was called Assassination of the Black Male Image. And I opened it up. You guys, it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
Wow.
And when I opened it up, it talked about my dad on the first. I didn't expect that because it's basically comparing Black men to God's image and things of that nature, and how people are automatically intimidated by Black men because he's tall, because he's big. It's like, you can't do that, So I just read, I work out, I pour love into this generation, or things that I needed as a kid that could have helped me. I try my best. I fall short, but I try to be like the guardian angel that I had. I had numerous of. I went to LAUSD too, y'all, and my dad was a public speaker. That was not easy. I'm gonna tell you again, it was not easy. So I know what it's like. You know what I mean? To live a life and have nobody. I know what it's like to need. So, my job is to be empty of myself when I leave this earth, so I can be like, okay, you use your pain to help somebody. You didn't just sit there and cry. My dad talked to us like boys. He didn't talk to us like girls. So you can imagine that. So yeah, that's basically it.
You are your father's child. I'm
No
so
doubt.
happy and proud of you. And I'm sure he is smiling on you, around you, dancing, just proud.
I received that so much, guys.
That's right. Most definitely. Well, this has been an awesome opportunity. I know you use this. We all have like certain words that we have, and you actually use one of my words, which is phenomenal. So I'm going to say it right now. I haven't said it in a while. So this has been phenomenal on this Black History Month, to speak to someone who has continued the legacy of a Black man.
Yes.
And wears it proudly.
Yep.
Wears it with dignity and with a certain prestige. And we applaud you for actually doing this. So before we, close out, we got to do our usual sound off. And this is an opportunity to just sound off on whatever's going on, what's going on upstairs, what's going on around you. So as our wonderful guests would like to give you the opportunity to give your sound off.
I want us to, in spite of your emotional setback, mental blockage, I want you to show up, because your presence is so needed. It's so, it's needed. And I know that you don't think that you make a difference, but you'd be surprised how inspiring you are to someone else who, you just never know. And I feel like, anybody knows that in numbers, you see results. So it's like, just show
Mhm.
up. Your presence is so bold, so needed. God didn't make you like that for no reason. Just show up.
Right. Right.
Awesome.
I love it.
Should I go or you want to go, Shar?
I'll go. My sound off is just pride in being my ancestors' wildest dream, the answer to their prayer, the ability to rest, the ability to fight, the ability to love, the ability to show up in spaces and places that they at one time had no business in. So that's my biggest pride. I'm grateful for that.
So,
Well, mine was about sports, but you guys making it like.
No, go
no,
ahead. Go
sports is-
ahead.
you don't even understand. That's like really important.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Don't play it.
Um, I mean, the Super Bowl is coming up next week, so I want to shout out the Rams. I'm a Steelers fan, but the Rams, they have made a major transition to California. I mean, California to Los Angeles.
Yes.
They have a new stadium. They had all the odds stacked against them this season and in the playoffs, and now they're playing the first time in the Super Bowl, Los Angeles, in their home. I think that's amazing. Shout out to number 99, Donald. At the end of the game, he said, "This is my stadium." So let's see what they do. Let's see what they do next week. See if he can actually claim the title. The Bengals, I don't know. They got together in the last 5 weeks before the playoffs, so I don't know.
Wait a minute. So Tom Brady's team didn't make it? The Bucks?
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just retired. He announced his retirement.
What? Tom Brady retired?
Yeah.
Wow.
Can't get
Okay.
jiggy with this. They didn't win. He said he can't get jiggy with this.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the commentary with the potential or the coaching prospects. I don't know, Amir, is it 8 slots of head coaching jobs, perhaps?
So I'm actually going to tap into that.
Yeah. So well, I just want to say my issue is they're still looking at these assistant coaches, these African-American Black assistant coaches as Black coaches and not good coaches.
Wow.
And I have an issue with that by claiming as a minority, like that shouldn't even be in the speech.
Right.
On television, on NFL Live or wherever they're showing, that shouldn't even be the speech. But unfortunately, because we are a racist society, that still comes about, and I don't really appreciate that, moving forward. So
yeah, that's a powerful statement. That's powerful, especially in sports, especially with us. That's powerful.
Especially with a sport that's dominated by mostly African American players. I know you're going to get into it, friend. My bad.
Yeah.
No, you good. No, you actually, I'm gonna take from what you just said. The NFL has over 70% of its league is Black, and that's the players. Wow. You had, I believe, 8 coaching vacancies. Now it's down to half of that mark, with 4 still available. With the Saints, the Texans, the Vikings. The Vikings, Dolphins, and so the Vikings, Dolphins, Texans, and Saints. And when I think about where we are right now in this country, and I think about the things that are still happening, this episode speaks to what is currently going on and not happening in these spaces where our brand is being exposed and it's not being utilized with the leadership that looks like the brand. And that's the issue. And when we think of allyship, does the NFL need a strike from its players? Do you need to have unity within its ranks? You go back to what the NBA did during all that took place back in 2020. They did a wonderful job in bringing light to the things that were happening in the communities that they can identify with. And all the things that the NFL does to utilize entertainment to expose things for their greater good, they turn their nose within their ownership ranks on making a change. So Antonio is a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a little over 20 years ago, created what is now known as the Rooney Rule. which also
Mm.
speaks to hiring or interviewing at least one or more minority coaches and GMs for opportunities of employment. Unfortunately, the only Black head coach is on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
So the ruling rule, is it effective or is it ineffective? There's a need to be a look at the good old boys club in the ownership ranks, that there's a lack of minority ownership to make a change. So I'm hoping that the current ongoing civil lawsuit that Brian Flores has brought to the table of the league the civil lawsuit, that it does bring light in that other coaches and other players get on board to make change. Colin Kaepernick has spoke on this numerous occasions. I hope there's an opportunity for him to be a part of this as well, to expose and make a change within the no fun league. I will watch the game because it's the home team where I grew up at, but I'm indifferent to supporting if there's not changes made in the off season. So that's my sound off.
Oh yeah.
So boom.
Yeah,
All right.
and they would have the most dope, and I'm probably biased. We're probably all biased because we're all from LA. But
Right.
this is the dopest halftime
Absolutely.
show
Hey,
ever.
hey.
Ever.
Yeah.
So much FOMO. So yeah, I would boycott, but I can't boycott Snoop or Kendrick or Dre.
Or Mary
so.
J. Blige, Eminem. I mean, we've never
It's
had
about to be
any.
dope.
There's never been. I think when I think of halftime shows, the most memorable ones for me are when Michael Jackson was at the Rose Bowl back in the day.
Yep.
Okay,
My brother lived right there on Sunset in Pasadena. Yep.
Right. Beyonce.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Prince was amazing.
What's that?
Prince was amazing because when he sang "Purple Rain," it rained.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Prince,
that was
amazing.
phenomenal.
You're right. Show you right.
Yes. So this is for hip hop, and I'm glad, but we we're not here for. Yes, I'm glad that they have allowed Jay-Z to be a part of the entertainment portion, but there also needs to be change within the ownership ranks. The
Oh, for sure.
ownership, the owners are the ones that they own the commissioner. His salary comes from ownership. So there needs to be change. So, yes, we'll be tuning in next weekend though, for sure. I just want to give a quick shout out real quick too. We're all representing a variety of different brands or shirts that represent the culture, represent the current month. My sister Shar is representing. I just want to see that sweatshirt real quick.
Yes. Shout out to Boss Bags. He's at _Boss Bags on Instagram.
Yes. And I'm going to go ahead and represent this shirt real quick. I'm actually going to lower my camera down. But this is Beyond 28. Shout out to the Golden State Warriors. I went to the game. Yes, I'm in Oakland. Yes, I am a Laker fan, but I do enjoy basketball. And I like this shirt because we are Beyond 28. So shout out to all of those with the Golden State Warriors organization. Marcus Spears for having the Beyond 28 podcast and continuing the legacy of the culture and bringing light to we are Beyond 28. We're beyond 28 days in the month of February. Black History Month is American history.
Period.
Period. Well,
Antonio, you want to shout out your shirt? Can we see it? Selfish
Brand.
Society.
Yeah.
Plugs.
Yeah, we live in a selfish society, and most of us are selfless. So I just want to say that to understand what a selfish society is, you have to have lived a selfless life and or have selfless experiences in your life. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Wow.
I wore my sweater last week.
Oh,
By the
dope.
way. Yeah.
Oh, appreciate it.
Wow. You guys are inspiring. I believe here. I'm gonna have the juice.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's
It's all reciprocity. Trust me.
Yes,
You're
it
filling
is.
our cup. We're filling yours.
That's right.
Just show up.
And we would love to have you
are
on.
so energetic. Like they really
Yes.
I'm so
It's in
honored.
our DNA, like Kendrick said.
Yeah, can we see your shirt again? Can we see your shirt again?
This guy.
And where can we find those shirts? Are they available or what's the deal?
Yeah, you know what? They're actually on rodneyking.org, and I'm so bad, guys. I'm so bad. This year I'm gonna do better. So this week I have a meeting so I can reorganize my stuff, put my my model out there, everything. I'm revamping everything. But there is a site. There and we do have shirts there. And I'm gonna add more within the next 2 weeks. I promise I'm gonna add more. But yes, we're at the rodneyking.org. Come check us out. We'd love to hear from you. Sign up for our newsletter. See how you can make a difference.
No doubt, no doubt. And Laura, we're gonna make sure that we put everything in the show notes. But where can they follow you?
Sure.
Where can they support you?
Sure.
All those extras. We want the listeners to know.
Okay, I was tripping, right? On Facebook, I was tripping. I put my whole government name. So my first name is Lora. My middle name is Dene, Dene. And my last name, of course, is King, King. My Instagram is LORA_King, RKF. And I also have a foundation page, which is the official Rodney King Foundation.
All right. So, yeah. All right. Thank you. We'll make sure we drop that in the show notes.
No, our last guest put his phone number. He was like, y'all can call me anytime y'all need me.
Right.
Call me on my cell phone.
Right. Yeah. Shout out to Terry Edwards, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah,
all right.
Funny.
And then
but off air,
individually,
I would like to exchange information with you guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
Most definitely.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes, we would love to have you on again and also, work with you.
Okay.
All right, the rest of y'all.
You can follow me at char.rochelle on Instagram and at Char's Cookie Jar.
You can follow me at Antonio Crow Clothing and the podcast, Convo Lounge podcast. Yeah.
You can follow me on IG at the Prosperous One, _Prosperous_1, and also on the Convo Lounge. And also, when you go on the Convo Lounge website, you can also click on our Patreon, which is active. Click on the link. It has a heart emoji on there. You can click on that. Yes, you do. And you can click on that link and support us. And then also, you can support other podcasts like us at our Buzzsprout link, which we would definitely drop in the show notes. So we want to see other individuals that want to have a platform, no matter what community you serve, to also showcase and also bring light to anything you want to bring light to. We once again want to thank Miss Lora King for joining us on this beautiful day.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh,
thank you, Laura.
I'll actually be having a podcast in a couple months. Get along. So I'd be honored.
Oh, yes.
Oh, we will be honored. We'll be pleased.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. For sure. Well, we thank you guys for listening. Y'all be well. You guys, Black History Month is not 28 days, by the way. Y'all go ahead and check out and listen to this episode on all podcast platforms. And thank you for the support. Peace.
Peace.
Amen. Amen.